What if I told you that the person who spent their career putting people in prison might not be the best person to help you with your case? Many people think that a former prosecutor has some sort of magical insight that's going to help keep you out of prison. And that's just not always true. I'm Diane Bass. I am a criminal defense attorney, and I have devoted my career to standing beside people who are going through the most difficult time in their lives. Today, I want to help you understand the real difference between hiring a career defense attorney versus someone who is a former prosecutor. Because while they may both be very talented lawyers, the way they view your case can be night and day. Let's start with what prosecutors do. Their job is to prove that somebody broke the law, plain and simple. They're trained to think in terms of guilt or innocence, right and wrong. Former prosecutors, in my opinion, tend to have a very black and white mindset. This mindset can lead to an inherent lack of compassion for the defendant. They build their case by collecting evidence, working with investigators, and ultimately trying to secure a conviction. Even when a prosecutor becomes a defense attorney, that mindset can linger. They may still view the case from the point of view of a prosecutor rather than asking, what is the full story here? Who is this person? And yes, former prosecutors do bring real value. They know how the government works, they understand court procedures inside and out, and they can often anticipate what the prosecution will do next. But so does an experienced defense attorney. Just because someone is a former prosecutor does not mean that they are the best fit for your defense, especially if you're looking for someone who truly takes the time to understand you. When I take on a criminal case, I don't just look at the charges and the discovery, I really look at the person. I want to know who you are, how you got here, and what you've been through, because crime doesn't happen in a vacuum. The history and characteristics of a defendant are one of the most important things in a criminal case that needs to be presented to the prosecution and the judge. So I want to know everything about you. I want to know if there's been any family trauma. I want to know any mental health issues, physical health issues, great things that you've done, things that you've accomplished. I want to know everything. From the very beginning of the case, I focus on mitigation. So I'm not just looking at how we can win, but I'm looking at how we can tell your story in a way that matters to the court. We spend a lot of time preparing for the probation interview. We gather character letters. We work on a narrative for you. I spend time with you digging into your background so that when the judge sees your case, they're not just seeing a charge, but they are seeing you, the person. And this matters because under federal statute, such as 18 U.S.C. 3553A, I'm getting really law geeky here, the court is required to consider the history and circumstances of the defendant. If your lawyer isn't digging into those details with you, they are missing a critical part of your defense. Prosecutors never did this kind of work as prosecutors. They never attended a probation interview. They never prepared for a probation interview. They just sent the discovery off to the probation officer. So many of them will have a tendency to just sit through the probation interview, not necessarily prepare you for it or prepare by sending documents to the probation officer who's going to be interviewing you, and they'll just let the probation officer ask you questions, and your report ultimately will be in the words of the prosecutor and the probation officer, not your words. Truth is, there are great lawyers on both sides. There are great former prosecutors and great defense attorneys. But what matters most is if your attorney sees the full picture of your case and they see you as a person. You deserve someone who will ask the hard questions, learn your story, and really advocate for you as a person. So if you're facing federal charges and you're feeling overwhelmed, don't settle for someone who only sees the black and white. Let's look at every shade of gray and build your case the right way from day one. I'm Diane Bass. If you or someone you care about is going through this, reach out and let's talk.